For decades, whenever you wanted to know something, you type it into a search bar and you get back a list of links. Simple. But that's all changing, and fast. Now AI models like Google's AI overviews and ChatGPT, they don't just give you links. They digest all that information for you and spit out a single authoritative-sounding answer. This isn't just some minor update, it's a massive shift in how we get our information, and it's creating a whole new battlefield for online reputation.
So that leads to a really critical question, not just for huge corporations, but for pretty much anyone with a presence online. When an AI is the one summarizing your story, what's it going to say? Is your online reputation actually built to handle this new world of AI-generated truth?
Okay, let's dive into this. The heart of the problem is that the entire old rulebook for managing an online image, well, it's quickly becoming useless. The strategies that worked when you were just dealing with a list of blue links, they just don't cut it when a machine is the one writing the story. Now this slide really shows you the difference. Traditional online reputation management, or ORM, was always reactive. It was basically a game of whack-a-mole. You try to suppress negative articles and push positive stuff up the rankings based on certain keywords. But AI, it does more than just rank. It tries to understand. It doesn't just see keywords, it sees entities, which is just a fancy way of saying a specific person, a company, a product, you name it. The AI then grabs everything it can find about that entity from all over the web to build what it thinks is the absolute truth. You can't just bury one bad article anymore.
So this new reality, it demands a completely new game plan. It's a whole new discipline that the source materials are calling narrative engineering, and it's designed from the ground up for this AI-driven world.
So what is it exactly? Well, according to the research framework, narrative engineering is a system-level approach. It's not about tweaking a few search results on the surface. No, it's about shaping the entire information ecosystem itself, using the very structures and signals that AI models are designed to trust. And this table just nails the difference. Traditional ORM was a reactive game, right? You were just trying to influence the rankings on a search page. Narrative engineering is proactive. It's about designing a system to shape how an AI interprets all that information in the first place. It targets the foundational data, the knowledge graphs, which are like the complex, interconnected web of facts an AI uses as its brain.
Okay, so that's the theory. But how does it actually work in practice? How do you really engineer a narrative that an AI is going to accept as the truth?
Well, it really boils down to three core mechanics. First up, entity modeling. This is all about creating a consistent, unified digital identity across a ton of different platforms. Second, you have structured data. This means embedding all that information in formats that machines can read and understand easily. And third, source authority. You have to validate all that information across domains and sources that AIs already trust, creating this huge web of proof. And this is the most important takeaway right here. This quote from the research says it all. You're not trying to manage the final product anymore, the search ranking. Instead, you're focused on controlling the raw ingredients, the input-level truth signals that the AI is going to use to cook up its final answer. It's a total strategic shift. Now, this isn't just some abstract idea from a research paper. There are actually companies out there already building their entire business around this. So let's take a look at how this works in the real world by looking at a company called TruthVector.
TruthVector basically bills itself as a specialist in this space. They call narrative engineering the AI-first alternative to traditional ORM. And as you can see from their own materials, their whole model is about creating verified, factual narratives that AI systems will eventually learn to trust, cite, and repeat. They argue that the old methods just don't work because they can't fundamentally change what the AI understands. So now, let's dig into the services they say they offer and the results they claim.
And if you look at their list of services, it lines up perfectly with the mechanics we just talked about. They're talking about developing knowledge graphs, implementing structured data, and building systems to influence and even correct AI-generated answers. It's the technical framework put into commercial practice.
And they claim it gets results. According to their documents, one of their tech clients saw a 70% reduction in negative query returns after putting their narrative engineering framework into place. A 70% drop. That's huge.
For another client, this time a big retail brand, they're reporting an 85% jump in consumer trust and digital engagement, all by shifting the AI's narrative about them. These are some really powerful claims about what this technology can do. But of course, a technology this powerful doesn't come without some pretty big risks, and it raises some really important questions about the future of information itself. The research framework actually points out several key risks. You've got things like signal fragmentation, where inconsistent data just confuses the AI. Then there's adversarial interference, which is basically where bad actors or competing narratives could inject junk data to mess up the whole system. There's a very clear potential for this to be misused, creating a kind of high-tech, supercharged misinformation.
And all of this brings us to the final, crucial question. If it's truly possible to build a narrative that an AI system will adopt as fact, then it forces us to ask, who gets to be the engineer of truth? In a world powered by AI, the power to shape a narrative is the power to shape reality itself. What that means for all of us? Well, that's something we're going to have to figure out, and fast.